Hi, thanks for joining. Today I want to talk a little bit about a new trend in dog training, and we'll put the word trend in quotation marks. And it's not to be disrespectful of anyone or anyone's opinion on canine behavior, canine psychology, or dog training in general. But there's a movement or a disposition or an attitude, i.e. a trend going on right now that suggests that we shouldn't tell the dog no for growling. And the reason I'm making this video is because that approach in general, that attitude in general, is very dangerous. It can lead to some very dangerous behavior and, potentially a bite, potentially the dog needing to be euthanized, etc. And so, I'd just like us to consider this concept, if you would. I believe, and I've read several articles on this issue, and the argument seems to be if we scold the dog or tell the dog no when the dog is growling inappropriately, that somehow the dog is communicating, he's trying to tell us something, and we're not letting him tell us something, and then the dog will later bite without warning because of our telling it no to growling. And I don't understand that. I just, sorry, not getting that part. Rollo on my lap here, who at the moment seems to be very content. Rollo is a rescue, as all the dogs in the house are rescue. Rollo is approximately 6 years old. He was found in an abandoned building, had kind of a rough start in life, and he joined a pack of 4 dogs existing. The pack has now grown. We have 5 dogs in the pack, and we have a new foster dog, a new foster greyhound that seems to have some medical issues as well. We've got a foster greyhound with a broken leg and so forth. Rollo is a very overly confident, self-possessed little dog, as many little dogs are. Rollo is not insecure, fearful, aggressive. Rollo is dominant, aggressive. Rollo thinks that he is the pack leader. Rollo thinks that he is the dominant presence, or at least he attempts to assert that on a regular basis. And if Rollo weren't corrected, and yes, that's the word I'll use, corrected, told no, and physically corrected if necessary, Rollo would put his life in jeopardy, and we would have a fight on an ongoing basis instead of a calm environment. There are 6 dogs in this house right now. There's a greyhound at your feet. There is a miniature pinscher sleeping comfortably in the chair. There's a rat terrier in her bed. There's a chihuahua that's looking for a drink, or maybe he's hoping to find something else that was dropped on the floor, etc. You can't have a peaceable pack environment unless you are the leader, unless you are you've communicated to your pack that you are the leader of this pack. Human is always dominant to dog, and they are looking to us for that leadership, okay? So let's get back to this, telling the dog no when the dog is growling inappropriately. Now, there are lots and lots of different situations and scenarios, and I'm speaking in general terms. I'm not talking about a dog that's growling because it hears a noise or someone is attempting to open your back door. I'm not talking about a dog that's alerting you, a dog that hears something in the backyard. See, I'm not talking about that situation. I'm talking about if I were to clip the dog's nails, clean the dog's ears, brush the dog's teeth, have the dog examined by a veterinarian, and have another person in the house, another human being, and the dog simply wants to growl at the other human being. That's not acceptable. That's dominant behavior. It might come from a fearful standpoint, might come from an or mindset, I should say. It might come from an insecure mindset. In Rollo's case, it's a dominant, aggressive mindset. In all of those, I'm not going to let the dog stay in that mindset. I'm going to correct the dog. I'm going to communicate to the dog in a way that the dog understands, no, that's not acceptable. I'm going to use that word. I might touch the dog quickly on the side of the neck. I might use a collar. I might use a collar and a leash. But I'm going to communicate to the dog, no, that's not acceptable. Let's consider, for example, with this theory that we shouldn't scold the dog when the dog is growling because it's communicating. I don't have any small children, but let's just theorize, let's just hypothesize that one of my, little nieces or nephews is visiting me, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and the child walked past the dog and the dog growled. If that weren't addressed, if that behavior were left unchallenged, because, he's trying to communicate something to us. Yes, he's communicating he doesn't want the kid near him. He doesn't like the kid. He's dominant to the kid. He's fearful of the kid, but he's sending a message to the kid. If that inappropriate growl were left unchallenged, the dog has just taught himself, we've just allowed the dog to have an experience that says, hey, if I growl, that kid will stay away from me. So then what happens when the child inadvertently gets too close and now the child sustains a nasty bite from the same dog because we've not corrected the dog's behavior? This is just one of many different scenarios, many different situations that I foresee with this attitude of we shouldn't tell the dog no when he's growling. I should be able to trim my dog's nails. I should be able to clean my dog's ears. Or at the very least, a veterinarian should be able to do that. If an individual is not comfortable doing that, if the dog that they own is a very nice dog in most cases, but just, I can't do the nails, I have to take him to the vet, I understand that. Well, what I'm trying to get us to recognize is we still need to act in a leadership fashion, and yes, it is appropriate to tell the dog no. It is appropriate to tell the dog no. If the dog has a chicken bone that it, salvaged from the trash in its mouth, and I'm attempting to get it to drop the chicken bone, and it growls at me, again, let's go back to the theory. Oh, you shouldn't correct the dog, he's trying to tell you something. Yeah, he's trying to tell me he wants the damn chicken bone, which poses a threat to his life. So, again, very appropriate. I'm going to tell the dog no. I'm going to attempt to correct that mindset. I'm not going to be careless, and I don't want to get bit, but I want to snap that dog's mindset. I want to take him out of that mindset of being dominant and get that bone or get that article, get that lithium battery, that remote control out of the dog's mouth. It is appropriate very often in many, 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 many situations to tell your dog no. Having said all of that, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful of anyone's opinion on dog training. There's no doubt in my mind that the people who have developed this theory, as well as many who subscribe to it, love their dogs, want nothing but the best for their dogs. But this is a dangerous theory, and this theory is going to add to the number of dogs that end up in shelters and the millions of dogs that are euthanized in this country alone every year. Be your dog's leader. Be the leader in your household, and yes, it would be perfectly appropriate at times to tell the dog no, to correct the dog's behavior. Thanks for watching.